to spirituality after one is failed in life. With failure in life, one turns to spiritual life. With failure in the world, one turns to spiritual life. This is how it goes on. Failure in life arises because you have certain expectations. These expectations were not fulfilled, so you try somewhere else. Because of this, because of your expectations, many false masters exist. False masters exist because of your need, because no authentic master is going to say this to you or give you a certificate, because any certificate is a demand of ego. There are who give you a certificate that you are enlightened. They are around us. No certificate is needed. If you are experiencing this, you are experiencing it. If the whole world denies it, let them deny. It makes no difference. If the experience is there, what does it matter who say that you have achieved and who say you have not achieved? Once a flower has blossomed, its beauty and fragrance spreads. It needs no certificate that it has blossomed, or nobody has to confirm that the flower has blossomed. The blossoming of the flower itself is a proof that something has happened deep within the bud. Bud has started opening its petals, and it was continuing to open its petal slowly and slowly. All the petals are open. Now the flower has attained to its total splendor, and that is why it is a full bloom flower. Its beauty and fragrance cannot be contained. It needs no proof, no certificate from anyone. Whosoever comes in contact with that flower will feel there is a subtle aura around it, something which is unseen yet realized truth. It cannot be put into the words. The delicacy of the flower, the color of the petals, the luster, the fragrance, the magnanimity that surrounds the flower is itself a proof that it has blossomed. It is irrelevant when someone attains to awakening that it needs a proof. But it is not irrelevant because your basic search is of ego. Flower is not concerned with its ego, but man, because of the mind, is concerned that he has a certificate, a degree from a particular mystical school that he is enlightened now. You want to believe that you have achieved all. You do not rely on your inner fragrance. You are untouched by your own inner beauty and fragrance as long as you are feeling your own inner beauty and fragrance. It needs no proof. And this happens many times when you become a failure in the world, when you are in misery in the world, when you cannot succeed there, and when you feel that your ambitions remain unfulfilled. Unfulfilled and life is passing, time is fleeting, you turn to spirituality. The same ambition now asks to be fulfilled in the other realm. And it is easy to be fulfilled here. Easy because in spirituality you can deceive yourself very easily. In the real world, in the world of matter, you cannot deceive so easily. A flower cannot say that it has blossomed when it is still a bud. If you are poor, how can you pretend that you are rich? And if you pretend, no one can be deceived. And if you go on insisting that you are rich, then the whole society, the whole crowd around you will think that you have gone mad. You are insane. This happens. In the outer world, if you try to deceive yourself, you will be thought to be mad. But in spirituality, it is very easy. In spirituality, it is very easy. You can say that your energy has risen. Just because you have a certain pain in your back, you think your kundalini, your energy has risen. Because your brain is feeling a little unbalanced, you think centers are opening. Because you have a headache constantly, you think third eye is opening. You can deceive, and no one can say anything in this mystical world. And no one is interested in you either. But there are false. There are false ones who will say, yes, this is the method, and you will be very happy to hear that. A ego trip means that you are not interested in really transforming yourself. Ego trip means you are not really interested in transforming yourself. You are only interested in claiming. And the claim is easy. You can purchase it cheaply. And it is a mutual thing. When a so-called master says that you are awakened, of course, he has made you awakened. So you have to pay respect to that. It is a mutual happening. You pay respect to him, and now you cannot leave that person, because the moment you leave, what will happen to your awakening? Your energy rising. You cannot leave. That is a mutual dependence. That false one depends on you because you give respect and honor to him, and then you will depend on him because no one else is going to believe that you are awakened. You cannot leave. This is a mutual happening. If you are really in search, it is not so easy, and you don't need any witness. It is difficult and arduous. It may take even lives, and it is painful. It is a long suffering because you have to be destroyed. Much has to be transcended. Long established chains have to be broken that you have created around yourself, egocentric identities, conditionings, and so many things. Because when you start changing your pattern, all the old has to be dropped, and all your investments are in the old, in the egocentric identities, in the conditionings, and whatever has been put into you, you will have to suffer. When you start looking inwards for your ego and you cannot find it, what will happen to your image that you have lived with up to now? You have always thought that you were a good man, moral, this and that. What will happen to that image that you have created about yourself? When will you find that you are nowhere to be found? You exist, your identity is because of your egocentric identity and conditionings. Where is that good man? Your ego implies that you have thought what you have thought about yourself. Everything is implied in it. It is not something that you can throw easily. That's why it takes a very long time for the process of transformation to begin, gain momentum, and continue. It is you, your whole past. When you drop it, you become like a zero. You are starting from a new beginning. It is just like taking a shower and preparing yourself for the occasion. You have to be completely stripped of yourself. Take a shower. All that was the past, all that you have been carrying the whole day, the past day, you have to strip yourself of it. Then the process of cleansing will begin. You take a shower. Now you are totally stripped. Then you can put on new garb, new look, and everything. This is natural and you know about it. In a spiritual life, it is like you have lived a particular pattern of life all along. you have to be stripped of that first. It takes courage. It takes time. It is arduous. It is painful at times. Because all that you have considered as your identity, all that has given you a solidity, all that has provided a solid ground for you to walk is shattering. You have no path in front of you. Your path will be created as you take these steps. It is said, it is not the shoes that are important, it is the steps that you take. Now you are taking these steps into a totally uncharted realm. When you drop it, you become like a zero, as if you have never existed before. Your outer appearances, the clothes that you wear, gives you a certain kind of elegance, certain kind of respect in the society. When you dress in a particular manner for the occasion, you have an identity. And then when that is shattered, so it is removing all that has given you have lived with egocentric identities and conditionings. Then you become totally zero, as if you never existed before. Means your respect, your personality, your identity is shattered. And for the first time you are born, no experience, no knowledge, no past. Just as child is born, he is completely new. He is entering into the new realm. Just like an innocent child, daring is needed, courage is needed to enter into the new and unknown and unknowable realm. First, you have to go through the unknown. And when you are exploring the unknown realm, you realize you can live with it, but you cannot solve it. Living with all that is unknown requires total surrender, total trust, and then you do not need to solve it. Living with that is tremendous joy of its own. Authentic search is arduous. Ego trip is easy, and it can be fulfilled very easily because nothing is really fulfilled. You start believing. You start believing that something has happened to you. You are simply wasting time and energy and life. So if you are really with a master, he will constantly pull you back from this ego trip. That is why at times when you ask that this is what happening to me, this happened, that happened, he listens to you from where it is coming. Sometimes he may answer, sometimes he may not. He will have to watch that you are not becoming mad, that you do not start thinking in dreams. He will pull you back again and again. And it is very difficult because whenever you are pulled back, you begin to take revenge on the master, saying that I was going so high, I was feeling so high, just on the verge of exploding. And he says, nothing is happening. People come and say that I am feeling all around this area emptiness. Say something about it. If I say something, knowing well that what you are saying so authentically is nothing else but an imagination. People come to Buddha and say that wanted to find out that there is no God. And the man said, I am atheist. I do not believe in God. And I know you do not talk about God either. What do you say? Buddha says, who says there is no God? There is God and nothing else. Only God exists. Next one came and he said, I am a theist. I am a believer of God. What do you say? Buddha said, there is no God anywhere. So contradictory, the master speaks to the person according to the need, what needs to be transformed in an individual, so that he does not continue on the ego trip that he is. They want a certificate, a confirmation from Buddha that Buddha says there is no God. So he can continue with that certificate. Buddha also says that there is no God. So he can continue to propagate his atheism. And this is how it goes on. The moment you are pulled back to the earth, you are feeling that I was feeling so high, this is happening, that is happening. Good, continue to it to happen. You have just begun. The process just have begun, continue. Not enough. Still much more has to happen. With a real master, it is difficult to be a disciple. It is very difficult to live with a living master. Because now you cannot continue your falseness. And disciples almost always go against their masters because they are on the ego trips, and master is trying to bring them back out of that trip. It was recently happening, someone again and again asking that I have a question. I am feeling emptiness all around. Do you know what emptiness is? Is this emptiness good or bad? So these kind of and many such things continue. And these disciples create false masters. If I continue to tell the person that what you are saying or not answering, then you will go and ask someone else who is in need of the disciples. A real master does not need a disciple. His life is fulfilled unto himself. He is happy the way he is. If someone comes, it's good enough. If no one comes, better even. So it is very difficult to live with a living master. You try to judge him the way you are, and when things do not happen according to your expectation, the problem arises. And these disciples create false masters, and they have a need, such a great need, that anyone who fulfills their needs will become their master. And it is easy to help you in your ego trip because you are for it. And it is very difficult to help your ego to disappear. The purpose of the master, the process of transformation, is that your false identities and ego trip has to vanish. Remember well, and be conscious of this each moment, that your search is not ego trip. Go on checking. It is very subtle, and ways of ego are so cunning that they are not on the surface. Ego manipulates you from within, from deep within. Deep down, where the ego works from, there are two inner layers, the unconscious and conscious. Ego works from unconscious layers. And if you are alert, the ego cannot deceive you. If you are alert, you will come to know its language, and you will come to know its feelings, because it is always going to be after experience. It is always going after experience. If you are alert, the ego cannot convince you, ego cannot deceive you. If you are alert, you will know its language. You will come to know its feelings, because it is always going, ego always goes after experience. That I have experienced this, I have experienced that, and you want a confirmation. This is the key word. So remember that. Ego is always looking for experience. Enough for now.